Hello, and welcome to the sixth part on the basics of prayer. And in this episode, I'm going to be looking at petition. But first, a reminder of some important stuff from the last couple of episodes. To help with our prayers being answered, we can start with thanksgiving, which addresses the goodness of God. Then we move on to praise, which addresses the greatness of God. Now, don't make this a formula. Rather, let it come from your heart naturally. So, petition, or the asking. When we pray, we do not have to ask God for anything. We can simply be thankful and praise and worship God. Or we can simply be silent, communing with Him in our minds and opening our minds and spirits to receive anything He might want to impart to us. But other times we will be asking for stuff. So, what can we ask for? Quite simply, anything, providing it is with right motives and does not go against God's will. God is interested in the big things, for example, a whole nation to come to know Jesus, and the little things, the traditional, I need a parking space. Now, how do we ask? Using plain, simple language. There's no special way of talking to God. There's no special language. The model of Jesus shows that He used just plain normal language. Now, avoid using excessive words. These may impress people but will not impress God. In the words of Jesus in Matthew 6:7, and when you pray, do not use vain repetitions as the heathen do, for they think that they will be heard for their many words. More words of Jesus on prayer in Matthew 6:5. And when you pray, you shall not be like the hypocrites, for they love to pray standing in the synagogues and on the corners of the streets, that they may be seen by men. In other words, don't make your praying a theatrical performance. God will not be impressed. Now, we don't have to ask for anything. When Jesus fed the 5,000, there is no record of Him praying for the bread and fish to be multiplied 10,000 times. So there may be times when we don't even need to ask for whatever it might be that we want doing. Quite simply, being thankful and praising God may be enough to get a positive response. Remember that God knows already what it is that you're after. Now, Jesus Himself petitioned. The Lord's Prayer has lots of petitions. There is one-line introduction, then 7 petitions before concluding with praise. So even Jesus recommends we do an awful lot of asking. After all, if we don't ask, we won't get. James chapter 4 verses 2 and 3. Yet you do not have because you do not ask. You ask and do not receive because you ask amiss, that you may spend it on your pleasures. There are other instances when Jesus prayed asking for things. For example, in the Garden of Gethsemane, when He asked that He be excused from being crucified before bending His will back to God's will. Philippians 4:6, be anxious for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God. That's all for this episode. Thank you and goodbye.